My dear brothers and sisters, in a world where emotional relationships are often built on shallow connections and fleeting moments, the concept of true attachment is often misunderstood. Many people confuse attraction with control, affection with obsession, and attention with love. But when you strip away the noise, the confusion, and the emotional games, you begin to see that real, sincere attraction, rooted in healthy attachment, is far more spiritual, far more meaningful, and far more stable than the superficial connections we're used to seeing around us. When someone is truly attracted to you, they don't just admire your face or your status, they don't merely get excited by your achievements or your appearance. Instead, what they are drawn to is your essence, your emotional presence, your character, your values, and your soul. And in this type of connection, emotional availability becomes the foundation. It becomes the most powerful indicator that this person is not just here for entertainment or distraction, but for something deeper. They don't just want to be with you, they want to be present with you. You'll start noticing something different about the way they interact with you. They are not only interested in how your day went, but how you felt during your day. They don't just ask about your goals, but they want to understand your fears, your doubts, your hesitations. They don't run away when you show vulnerability. In fact, that's when they lean in the most. Why? Because emotional safety is what they bring to the table. And emotional safety is what healthy attachment is built upon. When someone is emotionally available, they listen not just to respond, but to understand. They're not afraid of silence in a conversation. They're not trying to constantly fill every space with jokes or flattery or small talk. Sometimes they'll just sit with you in silence, and somehow that quiet moment feels louder than 1,000 words. You don't feel judged. You don't feel like you have to perform or impress. You feel accepted. You feel like you can breathe. That is one of the surest signs of healthy attraction. They create a space around you where you feel safe to be yourself, not the version of yourself you think others will like. You don't feel the need to hide your pain or disguise your weakness. You are allowed to be human around them. And that kind of space doesn't come from infatuation or lust or temporary emotion. It comes from sincere emotional attachment. Now, emotional availability doesn't mean perfection. A person who is truly attracted to you may still struggle with their own insecurities, but the difference is they're willing to show up, they're willing to apologize, they're willing to grow. They're not just emotionally present when it's convenient or comfortable, they show up even when things get hard. When someone is emotionally invested in you, they don't disappear at the first sign of difficulty. They stay, they listen, they care. That doesn't mean they smother you or try to fix everything. It simply means they are available. Available doesn't mean they answer every message in 2 seconds or that they're always physically near. It means their heart is open to yours. It means they are emotionally attuned to you, even when life is busy. They remember things you said weeks ago because they actually listened. They notice when your tone changes, not to accuse you but to understand what's going on inside. They ask how you're doing, not out of habit, but because they genuinely care. And here's something you need to understand. Emotional availability is a choice. It's not just about personality, it's about intention. Someone who is emotionally available chooses to be open, they choose to be transparent, they choose to be supportive, even when it's not easy. That's why it's a sign of real attraction, because they're not doing it to gain something from you, they're doing it for you, out of care, out of commitment, out of love, not the word, but the action. Compare this with someone who's emotionally distant, always pulling away when things get serious, giving you mixed signals, showing interest one day and disappearing the next. That's not healthy attachment, that's avoidance wrapped in charm. Don't mistake attention for emotional investment. A person can give you compliments, gifts, and time, but still be closed off emotionally. And that kind of connection will always leave you feeling confused, anxious, and unfulfilled. But when someone is truly attracted to you in a healthy way, their emotional energy is calm and consistent. You feel their presence even when they're not speaking. You feel their concern even when you're not asking for it. You feel their commitment even when life gets messy. That's because emotional availability is rooted in sincerity. They don't say things they don't mean. They don't promise what they won't deliver. And when they fall short, they own up to it. That honesty, that vulnerability, that is a sign of someone who is truly attached to you in a meaningful way. So many people are walking around craving connection, but running away from vulnerability. They want love, but they fear intimacy. They want to feel close, but they don't want to be seen. And yet the one who's truly attracted to you, the one who's attached to you in a healthy, grounded way, will do the opposite. They will see you, they will want to know the real you, and they will offer a part of themselves in return. If you've ever been with someone who made you feel emotionally abandoned while being physically present, you know how painful that can be. But when someone is emotionally available, you begin to heal from that. You realize you're not too much, you're not too sensitive, you're not a burden, you're just human, and someone finally sees that and values that. So if someone in your life gives you this emotional space, this emotional safety, this sincere presence, know that it's one of the clearest signs of healthy attraction. This is not about fairy tale love, it's about real grounded connection. And that kind of bond, that's rare, that's sacred, and that's worth holding on to. In a time when people are used to chasing highs and emotional rushes, it's easy to mistake intensity for love. You meet someone and suddenly everything feels like a movie. The butterflies, the late night talks, the overwhelming compliments, it all hits fast and it hits hard. And in the beginning it feels like the real thing. But often what starts with fire burns out just as quickly. That's because real attraction, when it is rooted in healthy attachment, is not about how fast something begins, but how consistent it stays. If someone is truly attracted to you, they won't need to constantly impress you with grand gestures. They'll impress you with their presence. They'll show up in the small ways, over and over again. They won't promise the world and then disappear. Instead, they'll make small promises and actually keep them. They won't be emotionally loud and then suddenly go silent. You'll find peace in their steady energy. You'll find comfort in their reliability. It might not look like the scenes you see in movies, but it will feel real because it is. People who confuse intensity for love are often left heartbroken. They fall for the way someone makes them feel at the start, rather than how someone shows up over time. Intensity can be thrilling, yes. It can spark feelings that sweep you off your feet. But it's consistency that lets you know someone is serious. It's consistency that proves their attraction to you is not just emotional height, it's a conscious decision. Think about it. Anyone can be sweet for a day. Anyone can text you good morning for a week. Anyone can plan one perfect date or shower you with attention when everything is easy. But when life gets busy, when moods shift, when you're going through something difficult, does that person still show up? Do they still call to check in? Do they still listen when you need to talk? Even if they're tired or distracted? That's where the truth reveals itself. Consistency is not always glamorous, but it is deeply powerful. It says, I'm here not just because it's exciting, but because I care. It says, I see you not just for your smile, but for your struggle too. And this is the kind of attraction that lasts. Not based on fantasy, but based on presence. Not based on what you can offer someone, but who you are at your core. When someone is truly attracted to you, they won't want to confuse you. You won't feel like you're walking on emotional eggshells. You won't find yourself second-guessing every message, every call, every gesture. There will be a rhythm to their connection with you, a reliability that doesn't fade after the honeymoon period is over. This is because their attraction isn't based on the need for constant stimulation. It's based on a steady intention to know you, to be with you, and to build something meaningful with you. It's important to understand that healthy people don't build love on emotional roller coasters. They build it on consistency. They're not trying to impress you with who they could be. They're showing you who they really are, even if that means being a little less exciting and a little more real. Because real is what lasts. Consistency isn't just about communication, it's about emotional behavior. Do they treat you with kindness every time you speak? Are they respectful whether you agree or disagree? Do they show care for your boundaries, not just when you set them but every day after? If they make a mistake, do they take responsibility, or do they blame and deflect? If someone is consistent, their good behavior isn't situational, it's a part of who they are. And that's one of the strongest signs of a healthy attraction, rooted in true attachment. Sometimes we romanticize unpredictability. We think if someone makes our heart race or keeps us guessing, that must mean we're really in love. But the truth is, when someone is truly connected to you in a healthy way, they will calm your nervous system, not agitate it. They will bring clarity, not confusion. Peace, not pressure. They don't want to play games, they want to grow, they don't want to win you temporarily. They want to build something with you, brick by brick, step by step. And here's something you'll notice, people who are consistent in their attraction to you won't rely on excuses. They don't disappear and come back with vague apologies. They won't make you feel like you're asking for too much just because you want clarity. They'll offer that clarity willingly. They'll update you, even when they're busy. They'll apologize, even when they're hurting too. Because for them, you're not just someone they like, you're someone they're choosing, with intention and purpose. You'll also realize that the attraction they have for you isn't affected by your ups and downs. They're not only warm when you're glowing and distant when you're struggling. Their love doesn't shrink in your weakness or grow in your success. It stays. It remains. It supports you in all phases. This kind of person doesn't show up when it's convenient. They show up because it matters. Because you matter. We need to stop glorifying inconsistency and calling it passion. Passion without stability leads to heartbreak. It burns fast and leaves ashes. But when someone is passionate and consistent, that's when something sacred can be built. That's when emotional trust begins to grow. And that trust becomes the soil in which real love can bloom. So if you want to know if someone is truly attracted to you, not just physically, not just emotionally, but spiritually and sincerely, look at the pattern. Not the one-time gestures, not the intense moments. Look at how they treat you every day. Are they there when the excitement wears off? Are they still kind, still present, still caring when life isn't fun? Do they reach for you when you're hurting, not just when you're smiling? Because that is what real healthy attachment looks like. In the end, consistency isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention, but it builds trust, it creates safety, and it brings lasting connection. When someone loves you with consistency, you won't have to chase them. You won't have to question them. You'll feel their commitment in the way they choose you. Day after day, choice after choice, moment after moment. That's not just attraction. That's love with depth. That's love with roots. And that kind of love, though rare, is the kind worth waiting for. One of the clearest signs that someone is genuinely attracted to you in a healthy, grounded way is how you feel around them. Not just in the moments when things are exciting or romantic, but in the quiet, ordinary spaces of your connection. Do you feel calm? Do you feel seen? Do you feel safe? Or do you feel confused, anxious, constantly questioning their intentions? Real attraction doesn't keep your heart in a state of anxiety. It soothes it. It doesn't make you overthink every word, every message, every moment. It brings clarity, not chaos. People often mistake intensity for love, thinking that the person who makes them feel butterflies and nervous energy must be the one. But the truth is, those butterflies are not always a sign of love. They can be a warning sign of emotional instability or inconsistency. You shouldn't feel like you're constantly auditioning for someone's affection. When someone is truly attracted to you, you won't feel like you're being tested. You won't be walking on emotional eggshells, wondering if one wrong move will push them away. You'll feel secure in their presence, and that security will grow over time. Healthy attraction manifests as emotional safety. It's not about grand words or perfect timing. It's about the feeling they give you. It's about being able to express yourself without fear of being mocked, misunderstood, or dismissed. When someone is genuinely interested in you, they won't play with your emotions. They won't go silent just to gain control. They won't say things to trigger jealousy just to test you. Instead, they'll do the opposite. They'll work to eliminate your doubts, not deepen them. They'll move with sincerity, not manipulation. When you're in the presence of someone with a secure attachment style, you feel relaxed. You don't need to perform. You're not constantly analyzing what you said or wondering if you were too much or not enough. There's no roller coaster of emotions. One day hot, the next day cold. No passive-aggressive silences or disappearing acts. They don't make you question your worth. They affirm it through their actions. And those actions are rooted in honesty, care, and respect. Now contrast that with someone who gives you mixed signals. One day they're warm and affectionate, the next day distant and unavailable. One week they're making plans for the future, the next week they're ignoring your messages. That inconsistency might make you feel addicted to their attention, constantly waiting for the next high. But that's not attraction. That's emotional imbalance. And that imbalance leads to anxiety, overthinking, and ultimately emotional exhaustion. Attraction that's real and secure brings peace to your heart. You don't feel the need to chase. You don't feel like you have to convince them to care. You simply know they care because they show it, consistently and clearly. They check in with you because they genuinely want to know how you're doing. They include you in their world because you matter to them. They value your emotions and your experiences, and they don't make you feel guilty for having needs or expectations. A secure connection makes you feel free, not trapped. You don't have to shrink yourself to be accepted. You don't have to hide your feelings to keep their interest. In fact, when they see you struggling, they don't pull away, they lean in, they listen, they support. They're not scared of your vulnerability. They don't label your emotions as too much. They honor them because they know that your comfort is a reflection of their care. They understand that love is not just what you say, but how you make someone feel when they are at their most fragile. When someone is truly attracted to you, they will want you to feel secure. That will be part of their intention, not because they're trying to win you over, but because your peace matters to them. They will understand that being emotionally safe is one of the deepest forms of intimacy. That being someone's calm in a chaotic world is a form of love that speaks louder than flowers or poetry.
They won't compare you to others. They won't use your past against you. They won't leave you guessing where you stand in their life. Instead, they will anchor you. Their presence will be a source of stability, and even if they're not perfect, which no one is, their effort to be present, to be respectful, to be kind, will create a foundation of emotional security you can trust. And trust is everything. When someone makes you feel secure, you begin to open up in ways you never thought possible. You begin to heal from the old wounds where you felt abandoned, ignored, or unworthy. You begin to see that love doesn't have to come with pain. That being with someone doesn't have to feel like walking through a storm. Love, when it's real, feels like shelter. It feels like home. This type of security isn't about control. It doesn't mean the person agrees with you all the time, or tells you what you want to hear. It means they respect you, even in disagreement. It means you can speak your truth without fearing punishment or withdrawal. It means they don't use silence as a weapon or love as a condition. They're not trying to dominate your emotions, they're trying to support them. So many people chase the spark but ignore the safety. They chase chemistry but neglect character. But attraction, when it's healthy and whole, gives you both. The person who is truly attracted to you will not be perfect, but they will make you feel seen. Not just in the good moments, but in your pain. Not just in your strengths, but in your struggles. And when someone sees all of you and still chooses to stay, not just once, but every day, that's how you know the connection is real. So ask yourself this: when you're around them, do you feel anxious or at peace? Do you feel confused or clear? Do you feel drained or do you feel safe? Your body knows the answer even before your mind does, because the soul recognizes when it's safe. The heart knows when it's being held gently. And in a world full of noise, that kind of connection, quiet, calm and secure, is the loudest love of all. In our search for love and connection, we often associate attachment with constant closeness, non-stop texting, or always being together. But real secure attachment isn't about suffocating intensity. It's about presence that respects space. When someone is truly attracted to you in a healthy way, they don't try to consume every part of your life. Instead, they observe it, support it, and walk alongside you, without ever standing in your way. One of the most profound signs of genuine attraction is when a person respects your individuality, your boundaries, and your journey, while still remaining consistently present. When someone is really into you, not out of obsession or neediness, but out of sincere care, they don't treat your life like it has to revolve around them. They recognize that before you met them, you had your own dreams, your own values, your own responsibilities. And rather than pulling you away from that, they encourage it. They don't see your independence as a threat. They don't need to control your time, your energy, or your identity. They love who you are, and they want to see more of that, not less. We often glorify the kind of attraction that burns bright and fast. People who want to talk all day, meet every weekend, know your every move. But that's not always a sign of love. Sometimes it's a sign of insecurity or emotional dependence. Real attraction honors your personal space. It lets you grow. It celebrates your autonomy. If a person truly wants to be with you for the right reasons, they'll give you room to breathe, not cling to you out of fear. They'll trust the bond enough to not micromanage it. That's how you know you're dealing with someone who's secure in themselves and secure in their connection with you. They don't need constant validation, constant reassurance, or constant attention to feel close to you. They're not threatened when you need time for yourself, for your family, your work, or even your solitude. They understand that space doesn't mean distance, silence doesn't mean disconnection, and being apart physically doesn't mean you've grown apart emotionally. This kind of person doesn't try to speed up your journey or slow it down to match theirs. They meet you where you are. They're not in a rush to define everything or label every emotion, because they trust the process. They don't need to be in control of the outcome to enjoy the present. They're patient, they're respectful, and above all, they are emotionally mature. When someone gives you space but still remains present, that's a clear indication of healthy attraction. They might not be calling every hour, but you feel their support. They might not be with you every day, but you never feel abandoned. Their presence isn't about frequency, it's about depth. It's not measured in how often they show up, but in how they make you feel when they do. You can recognize this in their small, consistent actions. They check in with you, but they don't overwhelm you. They offer help, but they don't insist on taking over. They show interest in your goals, but they don't try to redirect them. Their love is gentle, not forceful. Their care is steady, not possessive. And in the stillness of their presence, you feel free. Freedom within connection is a powerful thing. Too often people think love means merging identities, sharing everything, doing everything together. But the strongest relationships are those where two complete individuals come together, not to lose themselves, but to complement one another. You remain whole, and yet deeply connected. That kind of bond is not built on pressure, it's built on peace. You'll also notice that this kind of person never uses your space against you. They don't guilt trip you for needing time. They don't withdraw affection when you're focused elsewhere. They don't punish your independence with silence or emotional distance. Instead, they value it. Because they understand that the stronger you are as an individual, the stronger the relationship will be. They're not just attracted to your presence, they're attracted to your purpose, and they want to see that purpose fulfilled, even if it means stepping back sometimes. And this doesn't just benefit you, it benefits them too. When someone truly respects your space, they learn how to grow on their own as well. They don't become dependent on your attention for their emotional balance. They take responsibility for their growth, their healing, their self-worth. This mutual growth allows the relationship to breathe, to stretch, to strengthen. There's also a deeper spiritual truth in this kind of attraction. When someone respects your space, while staying emotionally present, they're showing you a reflection of divine love. Love that is not coercive, love that doesn't force, doesn't rush, doesn't dominate, love that is patient, kind and wise. Just like how we are taught that true love for the Creator means striving to grow while recognizing He is always near. The person who loves you in this way shows a similar echo of that love, near without invading, present without pressuring, available without forcing. So if you find someone who gives you the gift of space, while remaining emotionally present, know that you've encountered a rare kind of soul. This is not someone who will chain you to a relationship. This is someone who will walk with you through life's valleys and peaks, allowing you to grow, to stumble, to rise, while holding your hand through it all. They are not a distraction from your path, they are a companion on it. And the peace that comes from this kind of connection is unlike anything else. You're not anxious, you're not second guessing, you're not caught in a tug of war between your goals and your relationship. You are free to be yourself, fully and unapologetically. And even when you're apart, you carry their presence with you, not as a burden, but as a comfort. So never underestimate the person who doesn't try to consume your time, but enriches it. The one who doesn't try to own your life, but supports it. The one who doesn't demand all your attention, but earns your trust. Because that kind of attraction, that kind of respect, that's not just emotional, it's spiritual.
It's a type of love that grows silently, deeply and beautifully, and it's the kind of love that lasts.